This story was sent to me by Caressa McKnight. Now, if you're looking at this picture, you already know who that is on the right. But that person on the left is somebody we haven't heard from in years. Now, you probably heard me mention his name every once in a while, but, not in a repetitive way. But that is none other than Bernie Madoff. The guy who was responsible for running one of the, if not the largest Ponzi scheme, probably in modern world history. Like, what he did has landed him in jail for the rest of his life. Like, he was living it up with millions of dollars that was not entitled to him or his family. If y'all remember, I did a movie review about about what he was doing that starred Robert De Niro, and I always said that was a perfect casting right there. And the name of the movie was called Wizard of Lies, and it came on HBO last year, and I did a review on it. It was actually a very interesting movie. If you have never seen it, you can go ahead and watch it. But yeah, the reason why Bernie Madoff is back in the news right now, and he kind of inserted his way in there, is because he has asked Donald Trump to reduce his prison sentence for him being involved, being the ringleader of that massive Ponzi scheme. When I read that, I had to chuckle a little bit. Because does he really think that 45 is actually going to reduce his sentence after he could have damn near bankrupted society with what he did? I would be pleasantly surprised if 45 even acknowledges this. He might, but I don't think he actually will. Because what if it was 45's money who's probably could have been tied up into his Ponzi scheme as well? Like I said, this guy stole millions of dollars from many people, and they weren't just all low-level individuals. There was some very high elite people whose money he got as well. And 45, and one of his businesses that didn't go bankrupt itself, was probably tied up into one of his schemes unknowingly. So I don't know, but let's read this article and see what else we can find out. Notorious Ponzi schemer Bernie Madoff is asking that President Donald Trump reduce his 150-year prison sentence, a request that Madoff's prosecutor promptly called the very definition of chutzpah. I don't know what that means, but I wonder if that's Jewish. Can somebody please translate what that is? Madoff, age 81, is currently locked up in federal prison in Butner, North Carolina for orchestrating the largest Ponzi scheme in history. The decades-long scam, conducted while he headed Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities in New York City, swindled thousands of investors out of billions of dollars. Madoff, who pleaded guilty to 11 crimes in 2009, is not asking for a pardon from the president. Instead, he is requesting clemency from Trump in the form of a sentence commutation or reduction. A search of the Justice Department website shows that Madoff's clemency request is currently pending. If Trump's previous opinions on Madoff and his family are any indication, the uber crook faces long odds in winning an early release from prison. That pretty much lets you know what 45 thinks of this guy. Trump, in his 2009 book, Think Like a Champion, wrote that he said no to Madoff's suggestion that he invest into his fund. Oh, so it looks like he didn't invest into it. I guess he learned from the other mistakes that he made that caused some of his businesses to go bankrupt. It says, I had enough going on in my own businesses that I didn't need to be associated or involved with this, 45 wrote in his book, according to an article at the time in U.S. News and World Report. In the same book, Trump said he knew a number of people who had invested in their life savings with the scamster. He is without a doubt a sleazebag and a scoundrel without par. Well, ain't that the pot calling the kettle black? The New York Post, citing a source close to the Madoff family, 2 years ago reported that after Madoff's conviction, Trump refused to rent his wife Ruth Madoff an apartment in his Manhattan buildings when she was looking for a new place to live. The Justice Department would not reveal when Bernie Madoff's request for clemency was submitted, but the department noted that such an application takes between 1 and 3 months to appear on the clemency section of the website. It is not known if Trump will consider the request or when he might do so. Madoff's former lawyer, Ira Lee Sorkin, told CNBC he had no information about the request. The White House referred questions about Madoff's bid for clemency to the Justice Department. Mark Litt, who was the lead federal prosecutor in the criminal case against Madoff, to CNBC on Wednesday. Bernard Madoff received a fair and just sentence, one that both appropriately punished him for decades of criminal conduct that caused devastating damage to tens of thousands of victims and sent a loud and clear message to deter would-be fraudsters. I'm confident that the career Justice Department attorneys responsible for evaluating such requests were rejected out of hand. DOJ statistics show that the department received 1,003 petitions for pardons and another 5,657 for sentence commutations that could have been considered by 45 since he's been in the White House. I'm gonna skip that next part because it just talks about the people that he's given pardons to. It says Madoff's former longtime secretary is also asking Trump for a commutation for her 6-year prison term for helping facilitate the Ponzi scheme. If she might as well just go ahead and knock them 6 years out. Makes you wonder when she was sentenced. In January, a federal judge rejected a separate request by that secretary, Annette Bongiorno, age 70, to be released into home confinement. Annette has served nearly 4.5 years of her prison sentence in a federal facility in New York State. Peter Madoff, Bernie's younger brother, pleaded guilty in 2012 to falsifying records at the Madoff investment firm and conspiracy to commit securities fraud. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison and is due to be released in October of next year. There is no record of clemency petition for Peter Madoff on the Justice Department website. Ruth Madoff in May agreed to pay $594,000 and to surrender her remaining assets when she dies as a part of the settlement of claims by Irving Pickard, the court-appointed trustee who for years has tried to recoup money for Madoff's customers. Ruth Madoff was never charged in connection with her husband's crimes. Madoff's scheme was originally estimated to have lost upward of $65 billion for his investors. But Pickard, as of last November, had recovered more than $13.3 billion of the approximately $17.5 billion of claims by customers who say they were swindled by Madoff's schemes. The Wall Street Journal, in a story that Tally noted, that's a little over 75 cents on the dollar, which is remarkable considering that when they started, Mr. Pickard expected to recover 5 to 10 cents on the dollar, which is typical in a Ponzi scheme case. Madoff's sons have both died since he was locked up. His oldest son, Mark, hanged himself in December 2010. I remember that in the movie. On the second anniversary of his father's confession on the Madoff's family of his crimes. Madoff's other son, Andrew, died in 2014 after a long battle with a rare form of cancer. Neither Andrew nor Mark were charged in connection with their father's crimes, but Pickard reached settlements with both sons' estates and related defendants totaling more than $23 million in 2017. Now, reading all of that, which I just read, especially at the end, does Bernie Madoff really think he has a chance in hell of getting his sentence reduced? Like, if I was to sit right there in front of this guy and read to him this article as I had read it to you just now, I would ask him, do you really think that you would actually stand a chance to get even 1 year reduced off of your 150-year sentence, bringing it down to 149 years, or how many years you have left? Well, he's knocked out. He's gone on number 10, so he's currently now at 140. So you think that you would stand a chance to bring it down to 139 if you had to have 1 year knocked off? After reading that, he does not stand a chance. So he might as well just continue to sit there until he takes his last breath. They say he's 81 now. Maybe if he's lucky, he'll reach 100. Y'all let me know what you think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. I will talk to you in the next one.